We are here to talk about If You've Got the Money, I've Got the Crime, Book 2 in Pick's Pocket series by C.M. McGuire. And this is a Misplaced Adventures novel. So we are so excited to go back and see Pickett and see what they're up to. And Edie, love Edie, and all kinds of fun people that you have not seen before and brand new players. So let us reveal the cover. Look at that. It's so
Yep.
nice.
I can't see it, but I'm going to do this.
There you go. So we have in the background, yellow is the color for this series. So we've got that going on. And
Like the color of the water.
like the color of the water, even before the dead thing started to walk in book 1. So we have in this one we had the bar, right? Pick's Pocket is in the first one on the cover, and this one they actually go to a larger city to go on adventures. And before I get to ask Chelsea amazing questions about this, let me read the back cover copy. When ghosts from her past return to haunt her, Pickett's life of hiding is over. She must deal with their truths or lose the only home she's ever had. In the ramshackle port town of Southfen, moneylenders run the streets and prostitutes rule the night. It's the old stomping ground of Pickett, the swamp witch turned servant. Of course, a conwoman like Pickett was never meant to serve, and she's all too ready to return to her swamp bar, the Pick's Pocket. More importantly, she's ready to return to her right-hand woman, Edie, so they can live the rest of their lives slinging cheap booze to broke traders and fishermen. The Sedrian dream. But peace is short-lived, and a spectre of Pickett's past materializes in the form of a job too good to refuse. All they have to do is bust a young woman out of a temple, and they'll be up to their eyeballs in coin. Never mind that it's incredibly illegal, and that this job might land them right in the middle of the business politics of the most powerful men in the city. With stakes that high, they have to reap that reward, or else. Oh... I mean, come on, it's book 2. Wasn't Pickett and Edie just going to live happily ever after in the bar? I don't understand. Chelsea, what have you done?
I mean, can you really call it living happily ever after if you're in a stinky bar in a stinky swamp?
I mean, Pickett thought it was.
Pickett's an alcoholic.
And also true. As long as the alcohol's coming, she's fine.
And Edie's kind of naive and dumb.
But sweet. She's really sweet. And she might not be dumb. She's getting skills in this one.
But still just as naive.
Still just as naive. I agree. She does definitely. Pickett sees the bad in everyone and Edie sees the good in everyone. And I kind of like that balance. Did you do that on purpose?
I'm going to say yes.
I
definitely
the whole time.
Look, you've got us writing these books so goddamn fast. I don't entirely remember writing some of it.
Right? You did write it pretty fast. Yeah, I have to say, going through the edits and I'm like, rewrite this whole thing. She's like, okay, a week later, here's the rewritten thing. I'm like, how did you do that? Actually, you and Jen Bear get along really well, writing very fast. It's pretty impressive. And Jean is on. Hello, Jean. Good to see you. I'm glad you like the cover. Welcome, welcome. And Northern Light says, ooh, it's beautiful. Hi, Northern. Good to see you. Florida Kevin wants to know if they live stinkily ever after.
I mean, it's only the second book. I don't know.
I mean, it is a swamp. Stinkily would be the thing. But you know what? You don't smell it after a while, right? That's
they've gone pretty nose blind.
Yeah, you kind of lose it. Kind of lose that after a while. But curious, what were the challenges between taking it from this like smaller, more, well, I mean, it's a swamp. I want to say rural, but it's not, there's not a whole lot of people, into that setting, into this more populated setting. What was the biggest challenge for you?
I mean, probably how quickly we had to do it came down to, I feel like I've got to incorporate these other characters and these other elements, and I need to figure out what the fuck their deal is, and I haven't really gotten to know them yet, and this is going to go really, really fast, and oh god, which you know because you did the edits and were telling me a lot of what the fuck is going on, Chelsea. So
that might be a direct quote. It's okay. You're not the only one. A lot of authors do that. And then they make magic, which is exactly what you did.
But yeah, so definitely the figuring how everything's going to work together and figuring out these new characters really, really, really fast was hard. But it was also pretty fun just because most of it came down to I enjoyed putting Edie and Pickett in a different environment.
Mhm.
To tease, we get Pickett having a little bit of self-care, which we've never seen her do before.
Mhm.
And it's cute. I think it's cute.
Yeah, it's the closest thing to a mother figure we've seen for her yet, so that was kind of nice. So that's cool. What are we talking about? My gosh, I don't know. You're just going to have to get the book. And it is up for pre-order right now. So if you go to the link that Zafo will plop in there, you can pre-order it. It comes out on June 10th. So we shall have copies up there. You can pre-order it right now, though, so you don't miss out. And excellent. And you have some family members from Pickett's past coming back. I'm
I
wondering
do.
how much did you like? Obviously, Pickett could not have had a nice, happy childhood because she would not have ended up where she was pretending to be a witch in a bar in the swamp, right? So I'm wondering, did you pull from anything else to give her kind of this interesting childhood that she had?
Like pull from for inspiration, or is other
Mhm.
shit going to show up in the book?
Well, I mean, you and I know lots of shit shows up in the book, but some of it we can't talk about it at all.
Um,
And the other part we can only hint at. Isn't that fun? This is called an adventure for a reason.
well, as much as some elements were really hard to handle in how quickly I had to write the second book, the first one, when I was brainstorming coming up with the first one, some of these people from Pickett's past who come up, I did brainstorm and have in mind as I was
Oh,
writing
nice.
that. So it was very fun to finally get to bring them in and go, who are the kind of personalities that are going to impact her the way that she is.
I love it. I love it. And you also had someone when we did the Kickstarter for the last night at the Jolly Chicken, you had someone ask for their name to be put in. They actually paid extra for that because it's so cool and they wanted to get their name in. So you put in Nancy in here as a very interesting character. So I'm wondering, did you think about where you wanted to put this character or did you have this character and then give her the name?
It's a bit of both. It was,
Mhm.
for whatever reason, the communication with Nancy kind of broke down.
Mhm.
Um, and I didn't quite hear from her about what she wanted her character to be like. And I was like, the fuck am I gonna do? And so then I was like, I need to make a character named Nancy. And I tried to think of a side character that could be Nancy. And then I went, oh no, it's not a side character. It's
Yeah, she
actually
becomes the main player.
it's actually a pretty plot important character.
Yeah, yeah. I think we can say because it's not secret, it's on the back of the book. It's the person that they have to rescue. So it's really cool. It's the one they get hired to go rescue is Nancy. So it was very exciting seeing her in there. But I laugh because Florida Kevin, because he gets this is his world, right? So he gets to go through it and look at it and make sure it fits, right? That it fits the Bible of the world. And he was like, Nancy, I don't know if that name quite works. And you're like, oh, it works. And you told him why. It was so funny.
Did I tell him about that or did I come up with some
Yeah.
like actual historical reason? I don't remember.
I don't know. I remember that, but you know what? I might be
I'm
remembering
gonna
things to make
Google it
myself
right
happy.
now.
Yeah, and then see here, Florida Kevin said that that's right because my brother paid for that too. Put my brother in his book and murdered the hell out of him. You did, and he loved it. He loves that. That's what a lot of people want when they do it, right? They want themselves
Okay.
murdered
So
brutally.
it is appropriate. It was a widely used, it gained popularity in around the 1700s, but has its origins in the Middle Ages and is a diminutive of Agnes.
You know, sometimes the diminutive of these names make no sense.
I mean, my cat's name is Yasha because that's a diminutive of James, which it's like the Russian for that. And I like Winter Soldier, and he's a Russian blue. So he's Yasha because that's the pet name for James.
Plus, Yasha's just a cool name. Just a cool name.
For a
I
deeply
love it. I
uncool
love it.
cat.
Kevin wants to know, have you noticed a big difference in how difficult it is to keep track of all the behind the scenes stuff in subsequent books as opposed to the first one?
Oh God, absolutely. I wrote the first book to try and make it like small and isn't going to affect this and this isn't
Doesn't
going to
matter.
affect other shit. And then I took them out of the bar and went, oh no, I've made a huge mistake. Why did I
Now I
do
gotta
that?
worry about what everyone else's book is doing. Yeah.
I can't burn down this city.
Right? I can't burn it down. It's not gonna work.
I can do whatever I want to the bar, but I can't do whatever I want to Southfen.
I love it. I love it. I love it. That's true, right? That's the challenge with writing in someone else's world with other authors, right?
Yeah.
So it's called, wait, what are you doing in Cedros right now? Hold on, because I need to be there, so I need to know what's happening. So yeah, it's quite the challenge, but y'all are doing a great job of it. But I think the audience is now ready to hear the cool scene. Do you have to do anything to set it up for us?
No, I can just click on the thing. I don't know if it's exactly 5 minutes, but I've picked a spot and I'll just read
Mhm.
to the end of the scene. So this picks up Pickett is done with her indentured servitude and is returning back to the bar, and it looks a little different than she remembers. Pickett picked through the tables. There were a few familiar merchants and fishermen, but most of these new patrons looked like they belonged in the seedy back alleys of Southfen. From the light of their candles, and somehow every table had its own candle in a jar, the scars on most of their faces were evident. Half the room was dressed in dark clothes with knives and swords slung around their waists. Maybe it was the fact that everyone was armed, but a couple of them sat in the back corner playing at dice without any rancor. Best of all, nobody had decided to bring in their goat or a bucket of fish. All of these terrifying looking customers behaved perfectly. On top of everything, the place didn't stink. It smelled of fresh baked bread, which undercut the familiar reek of human sweat and spilled alcohol. It was everything she'd ever wanted the pig's pocket to be. What the actual ever-shitting fuck? The song ended, and the scarred young man stood, dipping into a curt bow as the crowd applauded and cheered for him. Yeah, Grimstock! You knew it, you could do it, man! Proud of you! It was like waking up from a fever dream, only to discover that the dream was the most tame and mundane thing going on. She watched the young, mediocre lute player, Grimstock, slink back to a table where everyone actually clapped him on the shoulder. She stared for a long moment, waiting for someone to pull a knife in case they were buttering him up. Knives she could handle. A yell, a threat, a sleight of hand to convince them that she was the swamp witch to scare some wits into them and regain control. But there was no knife. Just a conversation while cards were spread out on a table for another hand. Pickett! A young voice shouted. Pickett turned to see a half-fed scoundrel of a boy scamper from behind the bar and up to her, his eyes wide. Letter boy? She said, catching his chin. You here delivering letters, boy? Not anymore. Edie gave me a job. He beamed. She gave me a bed in the kitchen and all. Did she now? Pickett turned the boy's chin left and right. Still a skinny little scrap of a thing, but he was clean. His ragged clothes were patched. Fuck, Edie had taken in the stray, hadn't she? And where is Edie? Let me get her! Letterboy gave a little jump, then ducked away, darting through the crowds until she couldn't spy him any more. Another performer took to the stage. This one was a tall woman with what appeared to be a wooden leg. She dragged up a chair behind her so she could sink down, and she began to sing. Me feller were pretty, but sharp were his teeth. Him face it were gentle, but harsh underneath. He'd tell me that I had to fondle him carrot, but when it was my turn, he just wouldn't hear it. The bar erupted in laughs and cheers, but one voice pierced through them all. Pickett! Pickett's heart swelled up so big she could hardly breathe. She turned just in time to see a pale woman with straw blonde hair racing toward her. Edie. Edie was here. Whatever happened, it was okay. If Edie was behind it, Pickett didn't care that she'd gone and turned the bar into a tea room. If it came from Edie, it was exactly what Pickett wanted. She had only a moment to brace herself as Edie launched herself forward. And fuck, she smelled good, like hops and fresh baked bread. And there was a little more force behind that hug. Pickett had to catch her breath as Edie took a step back and beamed at her. She had a little more weight on her, like she'd been eating properly the last few months. It filled her out into something healthy and not half starved, and there was color in her cheeks. And Pickett couldn't spot any holes in her. Was that a new dress? Well, why not? If Edie could afford to paint the bar and buy candles, why couldn't she afford to buy herself new clothes? Like a contract. Fuck. Edie, are you why I got out a month early? Edie grinned and winked at her. Pickett blinked. In just 2 months, Edie had turned the Pick's Pocket into a respectable establishment and earned enough money to clean up the bar and buy off a third of Pickett's debt. How quickly things changed. Pickett had to catch her breath for a moment before she shook her head. The hell did you do to my bar? Edie's grin turned wicked as she winked. I know you love it. But there are acts on, she gestured behind her. Why aren't you going around collecting tips? Is that all you want to talk about? Edie grabbed Pickett's hands and tugged her close. Can't we celebrate that you're home? I mean, sure, but... Pickett glanced at the full crowd. Home is different. And can you be away from the bar? Letterboy has it under control. Edie gestured behind her to the waif of a boy sitting behind the bar, sliding a beer to a man wearing a skull mask. Pickett wrinkled her nose. Weren't you the one opposed to having the squirt having a drink? Oh, he knows better than to try. She leaned forward, her blue eyes wide and glittering with mischief. The last time he tried, 2 bounty hunters confiscated it and hog-tied him for me. As funny as the image was, Pickett had to frown. Bounty hunters? Did you waste money hiring bounty hunters on Letterboy? Edie cocked her head to one side and fixed Pickett with an even stare. Come on, you know I wouldn't do that. Look around. Everyone here wants to keep this place in good working order. It's practically the new guild headquarters. It took Pickett a moment to sort out what exactly that meant. When it finally settled in her brain, she reeled and turned to stare at the peg-legged woman on the stage, who looked like she could kill anyone in the room with that very leg. Are we a bounty hunter bar now?
Yay! So poor Pickett has now paid off her debts and she is back at her bar, and it is so different and she doesn't know how to feel about it. I love that you did that, by the way. So instead of just being, oh, look, the bar looks great, she's like, what happened to the bar? And that was just so much more like Pickett, I think. So nicely done. Nicely done.
Yeah.
Florida Kevin's clapping. Northern Lights is woohoo, very happy. Yay. We will get up the art copies. So anyone who wants an art copy, please make sure to let Chelsea know. Chelsea, how can they let you know they would like an art copy? Like, do you have a newsletter or anything like that? Obviously, you can ask in Discord, right? So
you can ask me in Discord or at the cons. Or email me.
Well, if I do this right, we're going to have them at the cons. And I have a surprise. Lena rushed it through and they look incredible. Well, I'm assuming I haven't opened them yet, but they looked great on the mock. But I do have them. They're sitting in the front room now. And we have the cards. So we will have the trading cards for you when we get there of both Edie and Pickett. So we will have those. So everyone will be able to get a signed books from Chelsea for the first time from our booth. And you will get the cards that include Edie and Pickett. And Ethan will also be there on Saturday. Also Misplaced Adventures for All Hail the Kin. And his cards are coming in too. So you'll be able to get those. So there will be lots of awesome trading cards. So hopefully we will see you guys at Fan Expo Dallas in, 3 weeks? 2.5 weeks?
End of May.
Yep, end of May, May 29th through June 1st.
Kelly, I have a
Yes.
I have a correction to your statement. The cards are not in the front room; they're in the CDS World Headquarters Central Warehouse,
Also known as our front room. Yep, that's where they are. So awesome. Yep. Oh, you'll see them. Yeah. So Jen and Florida are like, I want to see the new cards. Yeah, they will be at Multiverse 2 in October. So anyone more on the East Coast and not out here in the middle of the country, you can come out there and get them from Multiverse in October. So we will have those out there too. So very exciting. Congratulations on this second book. It was well fought and it is gorgeous and it really, really hits emotionally, especially that ending. It's almost like I'd rather have a book club so we can actually talk about the ending instead of only hint at it, like we do for these. Maybe we should do that. We should have a book club so we can actually talk about it.
I can share the song that I listened to that made me make it happen.
Oh, what song?
Have you heard of Nerdy Prudes Must Die? It's by Team Star Kid.
Only because you told me about it. So I listened to it after you told me about it. Yeah.
It's the reprise of If I Loved You that's mixed with what is the song? Cool as I Think I Am, that they sing at the climax to each other. That's why that scene happened.
Oh, wow. Actually, that makes total sense.
Because of Maria Rose Faith and Joey Richter.
That's pretty cool. And if anyone else is interested in that musical, it is on YouTube. That's where I watched it. So
also, they're relaunching the first of the Hatchetfield musicals. The guy who didn't like musical. It's Tale of the Body Snatchers, but it's a musical. And instead of being like pod people, it's blue shit.
Okay. Did Kevin Smith get involved? Because that's usually what happens when Kevin Smith gets involved.
Oh, thank God. What Team Star Kid does and what Kevin Smith does, I don't think they would.
They would
I
mesh.
don't want to see that. I don't like how they'd mesh.
We would never be the same.
I mean,
But
Star Kid
awesome.
really thrives on, let's throw random shit in here for like no reason and then make it really relevant to the plot. I mean, in their twisted
Do
Aladdin
not encourage my authors. No, do not do it. Don't you dare. Florida Kevin, take it back.
I'm just going to say, in their musical Twisted, he inverted his penis is a huge plot moment.
You listen to much more risque musicals than I do.
They do have one called Me and My Dick.
See? Most risque I do is that one that's what was the one that like makes fun of Harry Potter through the whole thing?
A Harry Potter musical?
That's the one.
That's by Team Star Kid.
Oh, well, see, there you go. That one I adore. That one was funny because some things need to be made fun of. But awesome. All right. So thank you very much for introducing these characters and then continuing their story. And there's one more book, right, to conclude?
Yes.
Yes.
I don't know what happens in it yet.
Yeah, we'll figure that out later. It's fine. You'll figure that out later. And so it's very exciting. So this will be a 3-book series. So get your second book now. If you somehow missed the first book, it is up for sale right now. You can get that as well. And we will see you on June 10th for the launch of If You've Got the Money, I've Got the Crime by C.M. McGuire. Thank you very much, everyone.